Yeah, hi. So this is a core Java training program, right? So we'll understand each and every concept of core Java as part of this very session. We'll start with the very basics first. Today, we'll cover the module 1, which is this part, the basics related to this very programming language, right? So first we'll start with what this language is all about, you know, what core Java is, you know. Core Java is, of course, a programming language which is first developed in year 1995 by a company called Sun Microsystems. You know, but later on it was taken over by Oracle corporations in year 2011. That is a basic statement about a programming language when it got originated. And now when I say that all up, it has been taken care by Oracle corporation, that means all updates of Java are now on Oracle website. As simple as that, because Oracle takes care of this language. Thereafter, this very language is platform independent. When we say platform independent, it means it can run on any operating system. uh, that is what platform independence means, that this very language can be a part of any website, any mobile app, which can run on any operating system. See, that is the reason all Java embedded applications can easily run on Windows, can easily run on Mac operating system, or even Linux operating system like Ubuntu. It can run on any operating system basically. That is another feature about Java programming language. So you can say there are a lot of applications and website that does not work unless you have got Java installed as part of your system. It's a popular statement on internet that from gaming consoles to cell phones to internet, Java is basically everywhere nowadays. So these are two specific statements, or two statements about Java, that it is now being taken care by Oracle, and it's a platform independent language, and it's being used across many websites, many applications. Then another question comes about these three terms: JDK, JRE, and JVM. What these three terms are, how are they different from one another, how are they used as part of Java programming language. See, JDK stands for Java Development Kit. This is just a full form, right? JRE stands for Java Runtime Environment, and JVM stands for Java Virtual Machine. These are just full form. I'll just tell you, how exactly they are being used. So when we say JDK, JDK has already got JRE embedded as part of it. It has also got all debugging as well as development tools as part of it, with the help of which you can do the development. Right? That is what JDK is. I'll show you in my local system also. And when I say JRE, JRE has got JVM integrated as part of it. And it has got all your Java packages, or in basic language, all your Java class files. What are those packages? We'll talk about Java util package for all collection related APIs. We'll talk about Java IO package for all file input output related APIs. And it has got all the runtime libraries also. Right, which are required to run your Java applications. So runtime environment, right, and your Java virtual machine. See, Java virtual machine is basically the one which converts your Java code into byte code or into machine code, with the help of which it runs, or your Java code runs on operating system. So when I say your Java code runs on operating system, it is all because of JVM, which is there as part of JRE, and JRE is also part of JDK, right? But if you Google it, if you read out books, they say JVM has got a class loader system. Again, .java into .class, They also say that JVM gives you the runtime data area as part of any operating system. They also say that ultimately a Java based application runs because of JVM, because it gives you execution engine, right? So let's talk about them now. Before I start talking about them all over again, see, JDK has got JRE and JRE further has got JVM, right? So now see, JDK is a full featured software development kit. When I say software development kit, that means as a programmer I need just JDK, which includes the JRE for me, which includes the compilers for me, which includes the tools like Java debugger for me. And why do I need them? I as a programmer need them to create and compile programs, right? Or to execute the web application, to create the web application, right? To create any application rather, as of now. So JDK is a full-featured software development kit for Java, which has JRE and other compilers, interpreter. Now when I say JRE, JRE is basically the JVM, Java Virtual Machine, through which Java program actually runs. Right? See, when you only care about running the Java program on your browser or on your computer, you only need to install the JRE, nothing else. Runtime environment. So you are saying that I am not a programmer, I am not a developer, and I just want a Java based application to run on my browser. What do you need? You just need the JRE. What your computer need, what your machine needs, your machine just needs the JRE to run the Java based application on your system. That is it, right? So if I am a programmer, if I am a developer, I have to have JDK because that has got JRE in it. I don't have to worry about JRE has got JVM in it. But if I am a normal user, if I am a normal, end user for any application, running the application on a computer or on a mobile, I just need the JRE because my application has got, the application that I'm trying to run has got certain packages which should be there as part of my local environment so that that application can run smoothly. It will happen because of JRE. And JVM, because my Java code is a English written code. Who will convert this English written code into a machine code? Because operating system does not understand English, they understand machine language or they understand the byte code. There comes the JVM, which is there as part of both JRE and JDK. So JDK is set of directories. It has other things, but it has got JRE also, right? It has got compilers, Java C compilers, development kit. JRE, as the name specifies, JRE, is an environment which is basically the bunch of directories with just Java related files. Right, like you will see, I'll show you that it has got a bin folder, right? Bin with the executable programs, for example binaries, Java W. This is what, this is essentially the program that is used by Windows. What basically this Java virtual machine is Java W, which is there in your bin folder. There are other applications also, other binaries also. Then you have got libs, libraries, with a large number of supporting files, right? Libraries, you have got jar files, you have got configuration files, you have got properties file, you have got fonts, you have got sounds, you have got icons, you have got many things as part of libraries, as part of JRE which comes with JDK also. For example, rt.jar, right, which helps us interpret the Java code, right? And as I said, JVM is just the runtime environment that executes the Java bytecode. So JVM doesn't understand the Java code that we type. We need to compile the .java code to a .class file that basically contains the bytecode, which will ultimately be used by the operating system to run the Java code, Java based application on the operating system, right? And you can say these three terms, JDK, JRE, JVM, they are all the backbone of Java language. Each component works separately, right? JDK and JRE physically exist. You can see that. I will show you right now, in just a minute. But JVM is just the abstract machine, which means it does not physically exist as a folder or as any directory structure. It just exists as part of JRE or JDK, right? So this is little introduction about JDK and JRE. There comes, what if I need to download the latest version of JDK? Where shall I go? Right? If I simply search that I want to download JDK, it will take me to this very Oracle website. Here, if I select this option, right, oracle.com, this is a HTML page. Here also I can select this, right, JDK standard edition 11. They have changed this page, right? Here if I click on JDK download, it takes me to this very page. Based on the operating system, I can download the JDK. Mac, Windows 32-bit, 64-bit, Solaris, Linux, all operating systems are there. If I click on them, they will give me the exe file, DMG file, tar file, gunzip file, whatever I need to run it on my local environment, right? I have them already got as part of my own system. I'll show you, but this is where you can download JDK and this is where you can download the JRE, right? If you simply say free download JRE, again it will take you to the Oracle website. This time it is Runtime Environment. Earlier it was Development Kit. If you click on all these links, you'll get the specific exe tar file, gunzip file as part of your local environment. And if I show you in my C drive, here program files folder, Java folder, I've got both JDK and JRE. And when I was saying JRE, binaries, libraries, and if I go and check JDK folder, it has got JRE folder. JRE has got binary libraries. So when I was saying that JDK has JRE, this is what I meant. That instead of its own binaries and libraries, it has got JRE in itself. And if I am a simple backend, front-end user, I just need the JRE to run the Java-based application on our machine, right? So this is where you can download JDK or JRE. Then comes, this environment where we write the Java code, right? So this environment is called the integrated development environment. If you have any questions here, you can ask me, right? So what is this integrated development environment? IDE. Eclipse is an integrated development environment, right? So this integrated development environment is used for Java programming, nothing else. Here we just saw Eclipse. We can have IntelliJ IDE also. We can have Rapid Application Development Tool, any IDE that is there in your organization. Eclipse is, free version. It is the most widely used IDE. Now what does it has? It contains a base workspace, right? The workspace to create your project, and it gives you the extensible work plugin system for customizing the environment. Customizing the environment for what? Ultimately we are writing Java code, we are trying to create an application. So Eclipse is mostly written in Java and its primary use is to develop Java applications, right? It has got multiple plugins also, like JavaScript code can be written as part of Eclipse. Other languages also can be used as part of Eclipse. Now different versions of Eclipse are also available. Luna version, So if I want to download this Eclipse environment before I start creating project, similarly here I can, instead of writing JDK JRE, if I simply write Eclipse, it will take me to this very Eclipse org location. So here is the 32-bit or a 64-bit version. I have got multiple other versions also. Here different releases are there, right? It has got certain integration which we needed for the Spring based or the advanced based concepts, right? Git based, repository based configuration can also be added. So the moment you click that, you'll get a Eclipse environment like this. You just need to open it, and thereafter you need to set the workspace. Like any of, we'll create a project from now, in just a bit. So that will have a particular workspace in your local environment. So this is where you can download Eclipse. If you find any issues in downloading or in running the Eclipse environment, you can just let me know. So thereafter comes the data types, the one which are very highly used as part of any Java code. So there are basically two types of data types. One is the primitive and the another one is the reference data type. These are the two data types in Java programming language. Now when I say the primitive data types, they are the most basic data types available within Java language. For example, there are 8 primitive data types. Right? What are they? Byte is the one, short is another one, int, long. These are 4, integer based, then decimal based, float and double, then one for character, right? And last for the boolean false true flag. These are the 8 primitive data types. They serve as a building block of data manipulation in Java language. Building block for data manipulation, because ultimately if I am writing code for any functionality, I need certain data type to play around with, to put my data. So all these types serves one purpose, which is to contain a pure and a simple value of one of its kind. One of whose kind? These kinds, right? So these are 8 primitive given to us by Java only. We as a programmer just need to use them. I'll explain this also in a while from now. But before that, we have got certain variables. So when we say variable, what do we mean by a variable? See, variable is nothing but what reserves the memory allocation, memory location. Memory location to do what? Memory location basically to store the values for these very, integers, boolean, character, float. So when you create a variable, ultimately you are saying I need to reserve some space in the memory, right? So they give you the memory. These data type gives you the memory. Based on the data type of a variable, operating system allocates the memory and decides what can be stored in the reserved memory. So the moment by assigning these data types to variable, we can store integers, we can store decimals, we can store characters. So when you say byte, right? When you say byte, there is a range of data that can be put as part of byte. Your data can range from -128 to +127. Or you can say my data ranges between -2 raised to the power 7, to 2 raised to the power 7 minus 1. That is the range of my data. If my data falls in this very range, we go ahead with the byte data type. Default of byte, short, int, long is 0. If you don't put the data by default, this very variable will have a 0 value, right? For arrays we can use byte. Then comes short. Short is between -2 raised to the power 15 to 2 raised to the power 15 minus 1. Then you have got integer, which says minus 2 raised to the power 31 to 2 raised to the power 31 minus 1. So if your data falls within this very range, this is how you decide. Last is long, which is minus 2 raised to the power 63 to 2 raised to the power 63 minus 1. Right? Similarly, float is for a floating point numbers such as currency, for example. By default it is 0.0f, where precision data is there, area, or where multiple decimal points are included. Double is like long to int, double is to float is like long is to int, one larger value. Right? By default double data is 0.0d. Default again this 0.0d. For whom do we use double? Same currency, when we are calculating the value for a retail based application, wherever high precision values are to be included. Boolean, one bit of an information, right? Only two possible values, true and false. By default a Boolean variable has got a false value, right? Last is character, char. It has got a minimum value of 0 and got a maximum value of 65535, right? So it ranges in the octal format, it ranges in this very way, it between 0 and this is the maximum 65535, right? Used to store one simple character. Then comes reference data type. Now reference variables are created using constructors, which we'll talk in module 4. So basically reference variables are used to access objects for which we have this programming language. We will create objects, everything will revolve around this very objects only. So variables are declared to be of a specific type that cannot be changed, right? Variable they are created to be of specific type, either primitive type or reference type. Now let's say if I am creating on an employee class, then an object belongs to employee. If I am working on a person class, product class, any domain related API or a class. Now all class object comes under reference data type. If you are creating a various type of array variables, they can come under reference data type, basically which is created with new keyword. Now default of all reference variable is null, and reference variable is used to refer to any object that belongs to a defined type, for which we create the constructor. For example, if I say person p new keyword and this is a constructor, this is the, let's say, name of a constructor. Now this is a reference variable p created for a person class. Ultimately, after allocating the memory, p becomes the object and p can now play around with the attributes functionality of a person class, can be sent over to another class as a reference variable of a person class. Before we create a package and a class, see, there is a term called literal. Literal is a source code representation of any fixed value, right? So they can be directly represented by our code without any computation. For example, when I say byte a is equal to 68, or when I say char a is equal to within single quotes a, so they are specified like in every other language by enclosing the sequence of characters between the pair of single quotes or double quotes. If I use this immutable class, which is being explained as part of module 9, let's say this, this is a literal fixed value, right? So literal is the term that can be used as a assigned value to any primitive type variable, just a term that is being used. Now we'll create a package and we'll create classes as part of our our environment. Before I create a package, if someone asks us what is a package, then what shall we reply? See, package is a namespace. And namespace to organize the set of related classes and interfaces. I need something to organize my data, my class files, my project. How will I organize them? With the help of package. You can think of a package as a different folder, or on your computer you are saying I need to keep HTML as part of one folder, I need to keep images as part of another folder, I need to keep scripts as part of another folder. So you are organizing your you know project structure, class files, interfaces, HTML scripts, images, you know based upon your functionality. It will help you only. You can say that today projects can compose hundreds or thousands of individual classes, so it will make sense to keep things organized by placing the related classes and the interfaces into packages, right? So this is where you know class will help, package will help. And what is a class? How shall we define it? See, class can be defined, see, basically class is nothing but a blueprint. Now blueprint of what? Blueprint kind of skeleton, kind of base benchmark, blueprint for creating different objects, right? Blueprint for creating the objects which will define the properties and behavior of any functionality. So you create a class to define the properties and behavior of any functionality, and we create the objects of that very class so that we can access the properties and behavior of a particular functionality. Right? So here right click navigator or package explorer, these are views, right? If I right click them, I can create any Java project, right? Let's say I am creating a Java morning batch. Right, I created this very project with my JDK version 1.8. Next src folder will be given to me. Output is class files will go into the bin folder. A basic project. Here is the basic project which is being given to me. Next is I need to create the package structure. So let's say I created the package structure called com programming, and here I said class 1. Right? So I just cut this, select this, cut this. Here I didn't select the package. Now I selected the package. This is the package. The moment I say finish, a package is created for me. You can see this package structure both in package explorer or in navigator, and here you say a class. Let's say my class name is employee, just to understand how a basic class can be created. Public is a keyword, class is a keyword, employee is the name of a class. These are known as curly braces. Package is a keyword. This is a namespace where my class 1 class files will come. Public, private, protected are access modifier. Class is a keyword. I am creating 4 attributes of employee. Let's say name, let's say age, right? Let's say designation, and let's say salary. Right, these are 4 attributes of an employee. Let's say I can add more attributes also. We will talk about constructor, but constructor as of now is just one simple method whose name matches with the class name. Constructor can also be public or private. We'll talk about that in module 5. But here if I say that I will give you the name to create the object, you can use this keyword to replace your instance variable with the method parameter. We'll talk about this keyword also in detail in module 6. So these are attributes, right? This is just the constructor. We'll talk about constructors in detail, right? And to create getter setters for this very field, I selected the field, I said source, I said generate getter setters, I selected all the 4 fields. After I said constructor, give me the getter setters. Getter setter meaning mutators and accessors. You need something to retrieve the data. For that you have a getter method. You need some method to set the data. For that you have a setter method. Why do you need them? Because you need to run your project, you need to run your business functionality. For that these getter setters will be very helpful. So I'm just creating one basic class, right? Thereafter JVM will always hit this public static void main method, right? If I don't create any of this constructor, or if I create, so let's say if I comment out this constructor and if I create a basic object of my class, I can set the data. This is the one basic object. I could have got 100 employees in our organization. So this is how we set the name of an employee. Let's say ABC is the name of an employee, or you can set any data. I can set any age. Let's say is the 25 for an employee. I can set any designation, senior software engineer, something like this. I can set out any data for designation. Similarly, I can set out the salary, let's say it is 5,000 USD, something like this. And I could print the data using the getter method. I can get the name, similarly using the getter method I can get the designation, age, salary, every data I could get. So here I said please give me the age, then I said please give me the designation, and then I said please give me the salary. So this is how I retrieved the data, right, which I set. I can also retrieve it like this, right, what I said. So this object exhibits the properties and behaviors which are defined by my class. This object that I created exhibits the properties and behavior which are being defined for our class. And a class contains the fields and method to describe the behavior of an object. So I just said two statements which are kind of relatable to each other. The first statement that I said, that the object which we created as part of our class, they exhibit, they portray, they show the properties and behaviors which are defined for our very class. These are properties, right, attributes, and these are behavior, any particular method, right? If I run this piece of code, whatever I have set, that will come. This is what I set. And how did I run my Java code? Simply right click, run as Java application, right? Then I said a class can contain the fields and method to describe the behavior of an object. I could have created a method also. That method is nothing but a member of this very class, which will actually kind of provide the service for an object or to perform some kind of business logic. So this Java fields, member functions, they are all case sensitive. Case sensitive meaning, I cannot say that, this is camel case, first initial small, then capital. I need to use the method with the same name. I cannot simply capitalize something, or, this language is a case sensitive language, right? So these are basics about Java programming language. We just finished the module first, right, about certain facts about JDK, JRE, JVM, from where we can download the link, what are primitive and reference data types, what package, class, getter, setter method, or how it can basically work, right? This is just about module 1, right? Thank you.